once again another episode of Aftershocks, the AftershocksPodcast.com and AftershocksTV.com. And joining us right now, a true legend, an absolute legend of drumming, absolute legend of rock and roll, Mr. Carmine Appice. Carmine, how are you, my friend?
Good, man. How you doing, bro?
It's always good to speak to you, man. It's always good. It's always good when you have a project, and it's even more fun when it's clearly a project that I think you have a strong passion for. And obviously, Vanilla Fudge is the project I think you've always maintained the most passion for. Is that fairly correct?
Well, it's the first one. It's like having your first kid or your first car, your first drum set.
Sure.
And Vanilla Fudge was the first band that gave me success. And can I say, it's a great band. I mean, the talent in the band was amazing. Tim Bogert on bass, and Mark Stein, and great vocalists, both of them, and Vince Martell, great singer and guitar player, and we upset the world together. When we were kids.
Absolutely. If I would have told you 50 whatever years ago that the four of you would still be alive, still be around, and still making music, would you have believed me?
I would have believed it, but I didn't know if we were going to be all together making music.
Okay.
I know we would have all made music, but but unfortunately, Tim Bogert is still alive, but he's very ill, so he can't do any of these PR things. But we cut this record like in 2005 or 6 or something like that.
Okay.
And it was due to come out back in the day with a label called Escapee Music.
Okay, yeah.
And Escapee released it and the Cactus record almost at the same time. And then they went out of business. And they released my Guitar Zeus records too.
Right.
And they went out of business. And so they put the things up on YouTube and everything else, and then that's it. Never promoted it, so most people don't even know it was out.
Sure.
And then lately, our new manager Tom Vitorino, in making a deal with Golden Robot Records for a new record, which is going to be called Supreme Fudge. Right. We're going to do 5 Supreme songs, 3 R&B, and 2 or 3 originals. Told them that we had this album available, and they loved it. They heard it and they loved it, so we remastered it, and and now they're releasing it, and they gave us like some money for it, so which was nice.
Sure.
Not a lot of money, and nothing's a lot of money these days, but every little bit helps, especially when nobody can play gigs.
Right.
And then about a month and a half ago, they said they're going to release the Immigrant Song, and they want to do a video.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've been following my Guitar Zeus stuff of late.
Sure.
I've had 4 videos done. The latest one is called Code 19,
right, which
is all about what we're going through today. But we wrote it in 1997.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you should check that out. And but anyway. So I have this guy that does videos, and I've been producing and managing a young band called Kodiak, and he did their videos as well. So I suggested to Tom that he look at the videos he's done with me, because one of the videos I did, nobody knew I had myself, Tony Franklin, and Brian May in the video.
Okay.
And he did an amazing job on that one. So Tom saw it and he said, "Oh, this guy's good. Let's get him to do it." So unfortunately, we couldn't get film of everybody because, like I said, Tim is sick and everything. So we got some old footage of the band when we were, kids.
Sure.
And we gave it to this guy, and he added new footage and psychedelic. And I let Tom, be involved with me and working with this guy. And Tom had a vision of what he wanted the video to be. So we did it. And it came out great. So that's going to be coming out shortly as well. And, this album is going to be called Vanilla Zeppelin.
Right.
Right. And it's Immigrant Song. And that's the kind of artwork that's sitting behind it that the record's going to have. And the video as well.
Sure.
So it was done in 2006, I think, all analog.
Okay.
No digital at all, nothing digital. We mixed it. Actually, we mixed it on a thing called Radar, Radar was considered almost analog. It's a digital system that I did my second Guitars record on, and when my engineer said, "Well, I want to mix this on Radar digital," I said, "Oh no, I don't want no digital."
Right.
So he sat me on a chair and he pressed the 24 track, and he kept going back and forth from the Radar to the 24 track and saying, "What's this, Radar or analog?"
Right.
And I'd say analog. He said, "No, it's Radar." What's this, analog? And, I kept getting it wrong. It sounded just like it. So we mixed it on Radar, which gave us the ability to do the cut and pasting and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Good things about digital. And then after we did that, we mastered it analog again. So the whole thing is pretty much analog. That's why when you listen to Immigrant Song, it's really analog. It really sounds got great tones and fatness and warmth and everything,
Yeah, it just has that, it doesn't have that processed sound that much digital has these days. And that's
unbelievable.
And it's so much, especially a band like Vanilla Fudge that, your heyday was before there was digital. To hear that mixed to digital does not feel right,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, we have a guy now that mixes stuff. Pat Regan mixed that one. That's the same guy that mixed my Guitars stuff. There's a guy that does our mixing now. He has a big Neve board.
Okay.
He's got 24 track. So even if we start digitally, which I have a studio in my house here now, which is Cubase, but if I give him my drums and a song, he'll mix it through that board and he'll dump it to analog.
Okay.
And when it comes back, it sounds just like analog.
Awesome.
So
definitely. Now the choice, in my opinion, the choice of Immigrant Song is not really shocking, knowing that, even your drum solos with Vanilla Fudge as recently as last year were kind of like sort of a Zeppelin-esque tribute. For you as a drummer, is it always important to keep the legacy of John Bonham alive? Because he did set the bar quite high for most drummers to follow, after him.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's different.
Okay.
Because I was around before him.
Right.
Okay. And they opened up for us. And when they did, John Bonham had told me I was one of his influences.
Oh, wow.
And I got a call from Steve Smith, Steve Smith from
Journey, right.
One day, and he said to me, I just listened to Vanilla Fudge's Renaissance album, and what I heard on there was everything John Bonham ever did. Right. I said, "Oh, thank you, Steve. I really appreciate it, man. Because I'm humble about it. Look, drummers are like different kind of breed. We all take from each other, I'm not saying that, John Bonham did stuff that I did, but he did stuff I did because I was around before him. He used to listen to Vanilla Fudge records. I used to listen to Max Roach and Joe Morello, and I listened to Ginger Baker. And, I listened to this one. I listened to that one. So when they came on tour with us, I got him his drum set.
Right.
I got a picture of my drum set and his drum set. It was the same drum set, which were big, oversized drums.
Sure.
And I started that fad with Ludwig Drum Company back in 1968. And they toured with us at the end of 68. When he saw my drum set, he had a little 22 bass drum. I had 26 bass drums. I had a big tom in the middle and big toms on the side, big fat snare drum. And when he saw that, he said, "Man, can you help me get a deal with Ludwig?"
Okay.
So I called Ludwig and said, "Hey, there's a new band opening up for us. There's a guy named John Bonham. I think they're going to be big." Now I say it's an understatement of like 5 decades,
Right.
And so with that, they gave him the same set as mine.
Okay.
And we had 2 blonde maple kids, double bass drum even he had.
Right.
And we did one tour in 69 with both those drum sets. Wow. And I offered one at how silly it was when, like, if they went on, he had his double bass drum set.
Right.
And I went on, I had mine. They took his off and they put mine on. So the audience is probably saying, why'd they take that drum set off and then put it back on again?
Right.
It's the same exact drum set, And after that tour, Robert and Jimmy told him he was too busy with the 2 bass drums.
Okay.
Take one away. When he took one away, the Led Zeppelin drum set was born.
Wow. That's amazing.
So that's the story. So, but I've had this kind of drum sound ever since the beginning of my career with Vanilla Fudge, and John and Zeppelin worked with the same engineers that I work with, like back in the day. Andy Johns, Andy Johns was a tremendous engineer that helped develop that drum sound. But Jimmy Page, had it in his head what the drum sound would be like, and it was mostly ambient drum sound.
Sure.
Using big rooms, a couple of mics instead of everything mic'd. My whole drum sound ever since Vanilla Fudge days has been based on ambient room mics. And
Right.
That's what Bonzo's drum sound is based on.
Sure.
So when we did this album, I did my natural thing that I normally do.
Right.
I put the room mics up, compress them, stuff I learned from Andy Johns.
Right. Do you think that the drum sound of a band is, I mean, on occasion it is, but for the most part, it's not given the appropriate amount of influence musically, it's, I mean, and I'll point to I guess they're not a younger band, but a younger to Vanilla Fudge band, Guns N' Roses. They've had several different drummers, and each recording that they've done with a different drummer has had a totally different feel to the music itself.
Yes.
And I think it's all based on the drum. Do you feel the same way?
The feel comes from the drums.
Right.
When John Bonham passed away, I was in Europe, and there were big rumors going on that me or Cozy Powell were going to replace him.
Right.
Because of the feel. Now, Cozy and John grew up together. And if you read a book called The Thunder of Drums, it talks about when John Bonham came back from the touring with Vanilla Fudge, him and Cozy were all gaga about the fact that he was hanging out with me, and both of them used to listen to me. And, this is just a fact. I'm not like trying to ego out or nothing. A lot of people look at this and say, oh, he's just an egomaniac, But, this is a fact that I read in the book myself. I read it in the book. Chris Welch, the writer, wrote it, and he told me about it. And I said, wow, I didn't know that. I said, and I knew Cozy, because Cozy played with Jeff Beck when, we were supposed to play with Jeff Beck, me and Tim. And Jeff had a car accident, and he was detained by 18 months. So we put Cactus together instead. And then when he came back, he had Cozy, which Cozy played my style, the big drums, powerhouse, big drums, groove. And then, we finally got together. And then years later, I was asked to join Rainbow.
Right.
And I couldn't do it because I had a group with Mike Bloomfield called KGB, and I was signed to a label. So Richie got Cozy.
Right.
So when I used to see Cozy, I go, what are you, my professional replacement? I'd be kidding around with him,
Right.
But Cozy was a great drummer on his own. And, he had the same feel, some of the same stuff I had and Bonzo had, and a few other drummers of the era started having, Ian Pace, So, but my era was the first level. It was me, Ginger Baker, Keith Moon, Dino Danelli, and Mitch Mitchell. Did I say?
Sure. Mitch
Yeah, there's like 5 of us.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first level of rock drumming that became like the drum hero kind of level. And then the second level was the John Bonhams, the Ian Pace, from that level, like the 1969, 1970. Don Brewer came out with Grand Funk Railroad, and there were a few really good drummers that came out in that second level. Then the third level were the jazz rock guys like Billy Cobham, Alphonse Mouzon, Lenny White, Tony Williams, all that. That was like the next level.
Sure.
Yeah.
What do you think of the I'll call them the speed drummers for lack of a better term, but like
the speed metal and all that.
Yeah, the death metal guys. Do you think that the death metal guys are Slipknot or bands like that? Do you think that those guys, they certainly have skill, but do they have talent. Like it,
Oh
I know
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, right now you got Max Weinberg's kid is playing in
was
Slipknot,
right.
and he's a really good player. I
Sure.
mean, he played with Bruce. You know, he plays with Slipknot. He played with other things like that.
Hmm.
You know, he can play anything. The kid's really good. You
Sure.
know, and I give these guys credit. I mean, it's not easy to do what they do.
Right.
You know, with the fast bass drum, the way they use the bass drum, I can't do that. You know, it's just very mechanical, and it's the same every night.
Right.
You know, but it's great. I mean, they're really, really great in what they do.
Sure.
You know,
I've always thought though that while the skill is certainly there, you know, on a crazy level with
yeah,
how
totally.
fast they play and how precise they play, the one thing that's always missing that came from your generation is that feel.
The
You
soul.
you listen to any death metal band, they all kind of sound the same.
Well, you can't. Well, number one, when you're playing bass drums so fast, all those bass drums have to be padded up so you could hear them.
Sure.
But even so, when you go to live gigs, you can't really hear them.
Right.
You feel it, but you don't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you hear something like rumbling on the bottom, but you don't hear it as good, you know, because it's so fast. I mean, look, there's only a certain amount of notes you can put in one beat, you know.
Right.
You can go up to 64th notes in one beat. 64th notes at a fast tempo is almost, you know, one note.
Right.
You know, it's like, you know, how are you going to hear that, you know? So it's just a matter of physics, really.
Sure, definitely.
But yeah, it's a different feel. There's no soul to the music. It's more like brain music than heart music.
Sure.
No, there's a lot of bands like that. Any band that plays the same every night, where they like the drummers, they don't go in, they play like we never went in and said, okay, here's the groove for the verse, here's the groove for the pre-chorus, here's the groove for the the solo. You know, we would just go in and play. Whatever comes from here, like an R&B song, you know.
Right.
Even R&B, you know, like you take Aretha, which is part of the reason her songs were so great. Bernard Purdy played on all those songs. The same drum sound, the same feel all the time.
Right.
You know? But, you know, Bernard Purdy couldn't play Slipknot.
Right.
You know?
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And it's interesting to mention R&B since you are doing what I'll admit, it surprised me when I read about it, doing these Supremes covers. What led you guys to choosing the Supreme of all the bands you could choose to do, you know, covers of? The Supremes would have been low on my dart throwing.
Well, what happened would you keep me hanging on?
Yeah, true. Good point.
That was a Supreme song. You know?
Yeah.
Supreme, you know, it was our manager's idea to do it, and the label loved it. And you know, a good R&B song's a good R&B song. You know, they have great songs. You know, "Stop in the Name of Love." You know, I mean, it's a hurting song.
Right.
You know? And "Reflections" and some of the other ones we're looking at, the same kind of vibe. You know, we look at the lyrics. You know.
Right. Sure.
You know? And then, like, we did an album, 1967, not 67, Spirit of 67. We did, you know, all kinds of R&B songs, "Tracks of My Tears." We did, we even did "The Letter," you know. If you ever heard that album, it's a great album. "Heard It Through the Grapevine," you know, we did that as well. And, you know, we do that great because we grew up playing R&B and soul.
Right.
I mean, I used to play in a band called Thursday's Children, and we used to play with opposite other bands. One of the other bands we played with was Jimi Hendrix. It was called Jimmy James and the Blue Flames, and he was doing the same stuff he was doing, blues and R&B.
Sure.
And he was doing Wild Thing. He was doing you know, Isley Brothers, and he was doing, you know, all the same stuff we were doing. You know, Wilson Pickett and all that, Midnight Hour, and playing with his teeth and being flamboyant, and he has hair combed back. You know. And, you know, that's what we did, you know. And so, you know, R&B is our really cup of tea. Make it really rockified, but still keep the soul.
Sure, definitely. Carmine, when you look back at your career, I mean, you've obviously had a lot of highs, you know, where there's Vanilla Fudge and obviously King Cobra was big, Blue Murder. And, you know, you've had quite a few great bands. Are there any that you look back at and you're like, damn, that should have hit too? Do you ever look at like Carmine and the Rockers or the Pigeons or, you know,
the Pigeons were Vanilla Fudge.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, look at Rod Stewart, was the biggest high of all of them. You know, I co-wrote Do You Think I'm Sexy and co-wrote Young Turks. We were selling out 6 nights at the Forum. It was a Rod Stewart group. We were part of the group. We had percentages and stuff. It was huge. You know, I thought King Cobra should have gone bigger.
Okay.
Of all my bands, I thought King Cobra should have gone bigger, and Cactus maybe. You know,
right? Yeah. Do you? I've asked you this question before. I'm going to ask you it again just because I don't remember the answer, but I'm always curious. Are you and your brother competitive?
Yeah, I mean we are, but we're also helping each other. Like
Okay.
right now, the studio I have, my brother built the actual computer, put in all the software and everything, sent it to me. I set it up. He put in a program where he can chime in on my computer. I have him on the phone, and he's showing me how to work it.
Okay.
You know? And yeah, when we go out on the road as drum wars,
right?
You know, we're competitive. You know,
Sure.
He plays something, I try and top it. I do something, he tries to top it. But that's the nature of the beast. You know,
Sure.
Drummers do that. But as you know, we love each other. We're good friends.
Sure.
You know, I call him all the time. I help him, like I'm just helping him get a deal. That's my dog. That's Moses the dog.
Nice.
Right? Let it be written, let it be done. You know. So he, he's working on some new drum books, and I just signed signing a new drum book deal with Modern Drummer Publications.
Awesome.
And the guy I'm working with, I told him about Vinny. He had a book, and I said he wants to do new books. So I'm hooking Vinny up with that situation, you know. And, you know, I'll hook Vinny up with something. He'll hook me up with something. You know, there's competition when we play, when it needs to be, and there's creativity when there needs to be, and there's love and friendliness and helping each other when there needs to be.
Has there been career competition? Do you ever say, well, I had Vanilla Fudge? He says, yeah, well, I had.
Oh, yeah, goofing off. Yeah, goofing around. We do that in interviews, you know.
Sure.
You know, like Vinny used to say on his website, you know, no brushes, no ballads. And I'd say no work. You know, but we kid around with each other, you know.
Sure. Is the, and this is one I know I haven't asked you, is the Appice Appice thing an inside joke between you two?
No, I mean, it really happened. I mean, I used to be Appice, and everybody called me Appice. Finally, when I joined Rod Stewart, he said, man, let's get one way to say your name. There's so many different pronunciations.
Okay.
So what do most people call you? So I said, most people say Appice.
Okay.
So then we went with Appice. I'm playing in front of 20,000 people every night for 8 years.
Right.
I became Carmine Appice. And then Ludwig, everyone wants a piece of Appice, did a big ad.
Right.
And then when Vinny came out with Derringer and Black Sabbath, it was Appice, especially with Black Sabbath. He did a lot of press. It confused everybody.
Sure.
So everybody's been confused. So I came up with the idea, let's do a drum wars, a battle, and whoever wins it, you know, gets the name. So we did a DVD. Then my older brother settled. He goes, it's not Appice, it's not Appice, it's Appice.
Nice.
So that was, so kind of the whole Drum Wars video was kind of a piss take on the name and a comedy.
Right.
You know, so then I said, well, let's take it to the road, because we did some clinics together, and it was awesome. So then we came up with the show idea, and we've been doing shows. We've done probably 120 shows. We did a record, the Appice Brothers record. You know, basically we did a Drum Wars live record, and it's great. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I love doing it. You know, we have a great time. The funniest thing is Vinny will go up and go, everybody wants to know about the name, but this is the story. And he'll go like, and I'll start playing drums.
Right.
Right. And then when I stop, he goes, that's the story. You couldn't hear a word he said, you know.
Totally
so,
fun.
so we're making a joke out of it, you know.
Right, of course.
Well, listen, I got to go because I got to figure out the next one. Same
Okay,
thing,
man.
it's on StreamYard. But hey, it was great talking to you.
Yep, good talking to you, man, and good luck with it, man. I hope the Supreme Fudge, and the Zeppelin Fudge does well for you, man.
Thank you, man. See you
All
now.
right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Aftershocks. For more episodes, go to our website at www.aftershockspodcast.com. Visit us on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for more news and information on the podcast. And be sure to subscribe, listen to, and review all episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other podcast platforms. For your music listening pleasure, visit our website or go to www.shockwavesradio.com. For all comments and questions, please email us at info@aftershockspodcast.com.